That thirst for the European culture, I think, is no different than what a lot of men on our side do. Is that they lust after those type of situations and then take it on home. Because at the end of the day, when you reproduce, many people want to stay within their own. They want their children to look like them. They are concerned about carrying on their own legacy. So it, in order for that to work, it behooves them to stay within their own. And it is what it is. Men just want to do that. It wasn't this type of exposure before. Like when you look at social media now, it's different. Even I'm sure, just even a few years ago, when national television became international television, it showed a lot of different people, different types of culture. We had so much more exposure, and it's intriguing. You're like, wow, and it really operates like that. It makes you want to travel to these places. It makes you want to uh, actually experience some of these different experiences sometimes that you see other people do. So the internet just made it crazy because now it's too instant. It's like information overload right now. So I think that what we're going to see pretty soon, because I've seen a lot of things. Like even if you were looking at like Saudi Arabia, women couldn't even drive up until a few years ago, but they were getting a lot of pressure from other Western cultures and things like that. They're talking about, okay, well, human rights and different things, and once you start getting into the sanctions and they start messing your money up because of it, and people don't want to deal with you because of the way your culture is, then people start to shift a little bit. So I think that we're getting closer and closer to one like global type of culture. I think we're going to start to see that in the near future.
Personal stories. Aisha and Fatima. Take the story of Aisha, a 32-year-old Qatari woman who has built an impressive career in finance. Her days are filled with meetings, presentations, and international travel. Yet her evenings are marked by solitude. Despite receiving marriage proposals, she struggles to find someone who values her independence and career aspirations while respecting her cultural roots. "It's not that I don't want to get married," she explains. "It's just hard to find someone who doesn't see my success as a threat." Fatima, a 35-year-old teacher, shares a similar experience. Dedicated to her community and her students, she has found professional fulfillment but feels the weight of societal judgment for remaining unmarried. "People ask me why I haven't settled down, as if it's entirely my choice," Fatima says. "But the reality is, the men who are left either don't align with my values or they've already married outside the country." These stories are not isolated. They reflect the lived experiences of countless women who are caught between
Kind of sounds similar, don't it?
societal expectations and the realities of modern life. For many Qatari women, the pressure to marry and the lack of suitable partners take a significant emotional toll. Anxiety and depression are common, particularly among women who feel they have failed to meet societal expectations. The stigma of being single can be isolating, as discussions around these issues are often considered taboo in a culture that values privacy and appearance. The absence of open dialogue about loneliness further exacerbates the problem. Women who struggle with these feelings may hesitate to seek support, fearing judgment or misunderstanding. This silence can make the emotional burden even heavier, leaving many women to grapple with their challenges alone. Efforts to address these issues remain limited, as discussions about marriage and relationships in Qatar are often framed within the context of preserving tradition. While there are initiatives aimed at empowering women professionally, there is less emphasis on addressing the emotional and social challenges they face. Community leaders and social organizations have a unique opportunity to foster dialogue around these topics, creating spaces where women can share their experiences and find support. Such efforts could help to reduce the stigma associated with being single and encourage a more inclusive approach to relationships and societal expectations.
Hold on, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. That video sound like feminist propaganda. If I ain't never seen it. That shit sound like the early 70s in the United States. That's what that shit sound like.
I said I looked at the video and was like, it seems a little fish to me, but okay, we'll go. I'll go.
That shit sound like feminist. It sound like they trying to recruit women to
Well, it's an AI generated video.
for word.
Yeah, You don't hear the voice, like the unnatural
Man.
pauses and shit.
Man, I'm like, this sound like some old, like this sound like I don't know what they trying to do with this video.
Yeah, so that's why
Right, because you can't date them because it's not like they can date outside there, so what's the point?
Basically, you know how they try to galvanize a group of people to start rebelling against their tradition. That's what it sounds like. Look, y'all men are leaving y'all. Y'all men are going to other countries and leaving y'all. Y'all need to go again. Like basically, it sounds like this video is trying to convince the women that they need to, veer left or veer right because they men are already, bouncing on them or some shit like that. That's what that sounds like.
It's contradicting itself. One minute it's saying the men are the ones who are leaving if they don't want. Now it's saying the women aren't getting married because their careers are so big. It doesn't make sense. What is it? Or are they saying it's both of these issues? Honestly, I've never seen this issue in the Middle East. I believe that this video is getting off the path. I gave you guys the truth. We have problems in tradition in our nations. I don't know what this video is basing itself off of. So
there's no way to corroborate any of this stuff as fact. It's to answer the question about who's behind it. It probably is a woman who used a voice AI and wrote this out to try to liberate women, to give them some uprising so they can go be with other men and break their traditions. It could be that, could be a whole narrative behind this. But like I said earlier, man, like you start to see glimpses of some of the stuff that's happening over here. Like these women are getting into their careers and they're wondering why the hell nobody wants them at 30, 35. Like, so even I don't even know if I just don't understand. Like, do women around the world see what's going on with other women in other countries? Like, do they watch? Do they look at the internet and see the dilemmas that everybody has?
But that's not what's happening in the Middle East. We don't have that issue of like men not wanting a woman because she's pushing her career in front of marriage. We don't have this issue. That's why I'm so confused at why this video is saying if the woman for marriage and career, we don't have this issue of women putting their career above a marriage. We can't, because marriage is the most important thing in your life, in our religion and in our culture. There's nothing more important than marriage. So there's no confliction. So this is why I don't understand what this video is.
I haven't even seen, and I look at articles all the time. I haven't even seen it. That would have slipped. That would have caught my eye. An article coming out about an epidemic of women chasing their corporate ladder or up the corporate ladder and costing themselves marriage and family.